This video I consider my royal look. I feel like it's the way I would want to look if I were a queen. Hi, I'm Shania Twain, and I'm going to be breaking down some of my most iconic video looks.
Let's go, girls.
Man, I Feel Like a Woman, 1997, directed by Paul Boyd. As a teenager, I watched so many pop videos, MTV. Dominating at the time was Madonna. You know, she was very famous for the corset looks and gloves and glamour and all of that sort of thing. It was something that influenced me. It was chic, it was stylish. The fact that the song, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, it had so many messages in it as a song. Man, exclamation mark, I feel like a woman, such a statement, which was a personal statement of mine, really starting to feel comfortable in my own skin as a female with a female figure. So I wanted to create a silhouette that was very form-fitted in with the corset look and the mini skirt, the tight mini skirt, but also the strength of the man's suit. The styling ended up being a mesh, a meld of the female, the feminine, masculine look that you see in the video. It was literal. In some cases, the lyric is men's shirts, short skirts, you know, so that dictated a lot of it. So the styling was dictated a lot by the song itself, what the song was saying, and Madonna being quite an influence. And, you know, reversing the roles with the musicians as well was part of the whole, let's mix all of this up. The male, the female, the masculine, the feminine. So that meant the band was going to be the sexy, let's see what's under those shirts. Addicted to Love, the video was, Mutt actually saw the video. He said, Man, I Feel Like a Woman is exactly that, reversed. The top hat says, it's a statement, here I am. The top hat is Liza Minnelli. She's a force. She comes on the stage and she's with her top hat. That really topped off the whole look, you know, the top hat. And then the veil, to me that was just very glamorous. It's very Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's very, again, takes me back to the 80s. It was part of the performance. The one eye, it was a really great frame. So the top hat framed it all in. And it wasn't about the hair, but it was about the sleek Audrey Hepburn meets Liza Minnelli. Any Man of Mine, 1995, directed by John Derek and Charlie Randazzo. This video really makes me chuckle. I love to ride horses, and I was in heaven just being around horses that whole day, riding out, playing cowgirl. This video is all my own wardrobe. The t-shirt, I snipped it up the front and tied it again to just give it a little looser, fun look with the belly button. And Bo Derek lent me her chaps. That added a nice touch. And the brown spaghetti strap dress was bought at a department store, and I went braless in that. I was just going through this whole braless stage because I was so tired of being strapped in and strapped down. I was very sporty as a kid, and I was always one of these double bra girls so that I wouldn't bounce around. My hair cut at all times is always something that I need to have fun with and be playful with. I like it to move. At this time in my career, I was still my own hair cutter. So I cut my own hair. Fun thing about this video that I indulged in was the horses, and given a towel in the bathtub by a horse through the window was so magical. His name was Slick, and he was a gelding paint. And the trainer did train this horse to hand you items, and this horse genuinely did hand me the towel. He completely understood the cue, and on cue. I would say a very fairy tale experience for me. I was living a liberation that I'd never lived before, and coming into my own. This was a good video that was a turning point for me in that sense of really coming into my own.
Looks like we made it.
You're Still the One, 1997, directed by David Hogan. There's a fun fact in this video. The male model in this video is the same male model in That Don't Impress Me Much. I'm like, I recognize you. You're Still the One video I thought was really beautifully lit. The idea of the video was meant to be quite moody, very romantic, moonlit, black and white, but not black and white. I also remember this is the first time that I had hair extensions. They were glued onto my scalp. They went in very quickly, and then at the end of the video, everybody says goodnight and bye, and everybody's on their way, and then I'm stuck with all this glue in my hair. It was a nightmare. So it took me days to get these extensions out of my hair. I had no experience with hair extensions yet. All of those waves, they were crimped in, but it was layers also of glued in extensions. I was influenced by Boys of Summer, Don Henley. And so I shared that with David, and I thought he really nailed it. For the songs are completely different, but this was that kind of moody beach, nighttime romance, film-like cinematic video, which, it's very natural and lends itself to being very sensual. A man and woman alone in love and what that would look like, but not sexual nudity or anything like that. And I was sort of, let's define the difference between sexual and sensual. Sensual can be, you can have all of your clothes on and it can be very sensual. I'm not sure that you can actually have sex with your clothes on, but you can be sensual with your clothes on. Maybe that's a good way of putting it. From This Moment On, 1997, directed by Paul Boyd. The From This Moment On video, in my mind visually, was always going to be classic and with symphonic instruments in the room. I wanted people to feel like they were in the space experiencing the video, even though they're watching a video. I'm in love with crush velvet that stretches. I've done so many looks with this type of fabric. I wanted this to have a little bit of an East Indian, Eastern feel to it, more of an emotionally spiritual sense to the look of the video. Hence, the white, the golds. I didn't realize when the song was written and when the video was made that this was going to become such a big wedding song. Sometimes I wonder if the look of the video with the veil and the white and the gown and the train of the gown influenced people or whether it was the song itself. So I don't know which was first, but now when I reflect on the video, it does look very wedding-like. That Don't Impress Me Much, 1998, directed by Paul Boyd. That Don't Impress Me Much video was the first time I'd experimented with a different hair color. And with this cropped bang, it was really fun to now take on a character. It wasn't the first time I was role-playing in a video, but I felt like I was a different character in this video. We had men coming along trying to make an impression on me, and of course, I'm not impressed at all. The song is really one of a confident woman who is very capable of walking across the dry desert in her leopard print head-to-toe wardrobe and her leopard print suitcase, all by herself. It's all really great in the great spirit and sense of humor of the lyric of the song. My love of the leopard print started when I was introduced to it while shooting the video, Love Gets Me Every Time. In the styling on the rack, there was a leopard print coat, and I fell in love with it. They actually gave it to me. I loved it so much. It was so awesome. I wanted to explore more wardrobe in leopard print, and I went crazy with head to toe, hood and all, boots, luggage, and of course it was stretch fabric, stretch leopard print. It was a little warm, I'm not gonna lie, but I was in midriff, a nice open cleavage, so that was my cooling system. And I think after that, I dominated the leopard print in fashion. That's what I would say.
Let's go.
I'm Gonna Get You Good, 2002, directed by Paul Boyd. I'm Gonna Get You Good is my leather and lace moments. I really wanted the leather and lace. I was inspired by Stevie Nicks, I think. I had just had my son. I was still nursing, and I was keen to get into something form-fitting and say, wow, okay, I'm back, and I can wear something that shows my curves. I paid attention to staying fit through my pregnancy. I was told that nursing really gets your tummy back in the fastest. It's the fastest way to get your tummy back in is to nurse. So I'm like, okay, baby, nurse as long as you want. And the hair was fantasy. I wanted the longest hair possible. And I'd already had experience with the glued-in extensions from the You're Still the One video. So I'm like, okay, I'm okay with having the glue in now. I know how to get it out. So let's go for the longest hair possible. I asked the stylist, I want to do mini braids. I want multi-textures in the hair. I want it disheveled, but I also want it fantasy and feminine, deconstructed, but still flowing. It still has to flow and be beautiful. It was a whole real look that I was very proud of, and because it was different and daring. The makeup was a little more goth, the whole look was, and I thought that was fitting for the animation in the storyboard. Forever and for Always, 2003, directed by Paul Boyd. Forever and for Always, this video was shot in New Zealand, and I did not have access to wardrobe where we were. We were somewhere very remote. I did have a hair and makeup artist that I brought in from Canada. Stacey Martin did so many of my a lot of my, no matter what the look was, whether it was natural or high fashion, she did a lot of those looks. She was, and is so talented. But I didn't have a stylist. We were a long way from any real shopping. So I just used the hotel throw blankets and sewed some shape to them, and that was the outfit. So I just created some arm shapes to this shawl, and then there was like a light cotton throw blanket that I used as a wrap. That was it. I do think it's so important for all of us to know what our go-to comfortable, natural makeup face is. And I think that's different for everybody. I love to have a liner, like something that defines the shape of my lip, but I'm really happy to have a very nude color on the lip. Blush, color, bronzer is a must. I don't need to do the foundation. I think that that's not natural. I think don't go with any foundation if you really want to have a nice natural look, but I like to use a little concealer if I have a little dot there or a little red blemish or whatever, and I just do the very minor touches, and then I just bronze or blush over. Always a brow liner and light mascara. That's all you need, really.
Whose bed have your boots been under?
Whose bed have your boots been under? 1995, directed by John Derek. This is my very first video shot by John Derek, and Bo Derek was also the photographer. She was co-directing. It was a real family affair. So I felt very comfortable so early on in my video making career. The wardrobe I picked out myself, so I did all my own styling. The denim on denim, I pulled the denim vest and the jeans out of my own closet. And the red dress, the red velvet dress, I think it was just bought at a department store, and I went braless, which was quite daring. Braless and barefoot. So the hair in the video was done by Bo Derek's mother, actually. Her name was Norma. She was a hairstylist in Hollywood for many, many years, and especially with Anne Margaret. So she did the hair and the makeup. I didn't really know much about what to do with my hair, so we didn't get too daring with the hairstyles or changing it up too much. The video really is fun, the concept of the men in the cafe ignoring me the whole time, which really put me in a place of going overboard to flirt with them to try to get their attention. They were all local people. They were definitely quite shy. They weren't actors. They weren't accustomed to taking acting direction. So I thought they did a really, really good job of ignoring me. Kaching, 2003, directed by Antti J. Jokinen. Kaching was what I would consider a very eclectic video. It was shot in Mexico City. There were so many incredible things that happened during this video. I'll have to speak fast so I get it all in. There was an earthquake, a really big one in Mexico City when we were shooting this video, and we were in an old building in the city, and The building was just swaying in slow motion. The chandeliers were swinging back and forth, and the staircase was waving, and we had to go down the staircase in order to get out of the building. But Kaching was also shot on my birthday, and for my birthday, the director brought in a beautiful black stallion Andalusian horse that I got to ride on the break between shots. And it was so touching and moving, and so I had the best birthday ever. This video I consider my royal look. Feel like it's the way I would want to look if I were a queen. The rocker outfit, I was inspired by Cher. And I don't normally go with a really sleek, straight hair, but Cher inspired me, and so that was the look for that. And then, just the band with the coins and the silhouette. I felt like I was reflecting back to the 60s when Cher was in the flare bottoms and the form fit. So it was Cher-esque, that look.
Do you know I adore you?
Waking Up Dreamin', 2022, directed by Isaac Krentz. I love this video. This is my play, my ultimate play with color and texture. I was playing rock star from the late 70s. This was my Prince, Elton John, and David Bowie born as a woman all at one time. I'm their child, in this video. It's all about the dream, and it's all about fantasy and going a little crazy with your ideas and the eyelashes. It was a great escapism for me too, because it took me away from looking classically like myself, which I really, really enjoyed. And I just love the diversity of being able to do that as well.
No clothes, no shoes in the South.
Well, I do have new music coming out, and the first song is Dirty Rosie, but the album is called Little Miss Twain, and the title track is Little Miss Twain. It is what I was introduced as, or how I was introduced, going on stage as a child. It was, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Little Miss Twain. And this is when I was so little that I was still smaller than my guitar. But that guitar stayed with me right up until my teens. I'm gonna get the chance to perform the first single, Dirty Rosie, during my shows with Harry Styles in London at Wembley Stadium, which is beyond exciting, and it's really, really a great honor to have been invited. I'm his guest, I'm his special guest, which is super sweet on his part. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that. Thank you, Allure. I cannot wait to do this again soon. Thank you. Bye.